No, it's always very timely, I think, on our show. We're dealing with, as usual, as always, boyfriends and girlfriends and that kind of thing. But we've got some serious things going on as well. Steph just carries a lot on her shoulders. I think it's been a long time since we've seen poor Steph smile. She's dealing with these kids and she's got her own issues of having a lot on her plate and dealing again with Callie having made the decision and it because it is legal and because it has to do with ICE and the police, etc., that she swoops in and tries to diffuse the situation. And so it's all very big and dramatic and Foster-like. They're very conscious and very aware of not only what's going on in the world, with the younger generation but also politically speaking, and they're very on it. It's not as if they're social media obsessed, but they are smart about social media and seeing what is going on and who's talking about what and what.
We think that we've got Callie on the straight and narrow, doing the right things and trying to stay out of trouble. But of course, as we leave us last time, she's gotten herself in a little bit of a snag, trying to help someone. So her heart's in a good place. But now we are left scrambling and trying to help her friend. Lena would kind of love to jump ship, and Monty has an opportunity at another school, wants to bring Lena with her and leave all the Anchor Beach drama behind. But her kids go to that school and she's got her heart and soul in that school and she founded that charter and she wants to stay, but she's fighting these forces that are just like these villains. Like, it's just insane. And what's going to happen? Are we going to take our school back? Are we going to, go private and leave so many kids in the dust? It's crazy. What is going on? Our writers are like, they are fortune tellers. Sometimes for good things, sometimes for horrible things. So I'm like, can you write something where we have a really wonderful, country full of hope and, but yeah, it's crazy. I will never forget when we were filming the Steph and Lena's first wedding, and they announced it, the gay marriage being legalized in California during our shoot. And everybody just in this days of like wonder and how is this happening on this day? And I still get goosebumps talking about it. In the song, what was the song, our marriage song? I Can't Change, the Macklemore, that was like, that was our song, and it was just this wonderful, happy time. And then now, of course, on the other spectrum, we have DACA and the decision coming down on the day that episode. It's just, for better and for worse, it's been insane how on the pulse of this country we are. Yeah, I think as I'm experiencing in my own life, Lena is just kind of, she doesn't have time for any drama. She doesn't have the patience of, so many high stakes situations going on in her own family and then in her workplace. Like, I think it's almost a blessing in disguise because it just kind of makes you cut out the fat. Like, it just makes you get right to the point and go and understand immediately what is important, what's not. So I think that's where she is for the most part, like really starting to find her power. And sometimes her kids help her find that. We've learned so many lessons with Callie, even though we want to just strangle her sometimes. That it's all about the heart and being a better person and helping other people. And so, yeah, I think the kids are teaching Lena. Lena's teaching the kids. We're all just growing together.
So this season, Callie is really trying to kind of anchor herself in her art and be responsible, and a lot of her energy is going towards Jimena and, fighting her DACA status. And so, yeah, she's really just kind of trying to be on a good path. I think just how unpredictable she is. Like, I never know what the writers have in store. Every time I read a new episode, I'm always surprised. And I think it helps being on a show for so long. It really helps keep it energetic and fresh for me as an actor. Like, playing the same character, it doesn't feel boring or stale ever. I think the main thing that audiences take from the show is just the message about family and about, a different kind of family and a blended family, and just the kind of universal messages about love and acceptance. And then it's also just like uncanny how relevant the show is. Just the episodes that air during, you know, important political things that are going on in the world and how much they're synchronized is like very crazy. I don't know if, you know, the producers have some kind of, you know, fortune-telling crystal ball situation. But yeah, so I think it's a mix of just kind of core family values as well as how topical the show is and how it represents a lot of people.
Well, Brandon, we're going to find him invested in yet another relationship, but this one I think is very meaningful to Brandon and also pretty melancholy in a way and quite serious with Grace and what she's dealing with cancer. And I think this is yet another time for Brandon to have to step up, take care of somebody. And along the way, I think he learns a lot, like he usually does. The beginning of Grace and Brandon has been really light and fun, and almost like we've been joking, kind of saying it's our little rom-com that we're going through together. And I think now we're kind of dipping into more of a serious tone, because cancer, she kind of goes back into, I think, remission basically. So she has almost like a relapse kind of thing with the leukemia. So now Brandon's really having to be there to support her and her mother, actually. So it's getting serious for Brandon. One thing that our show does very well, that the writers have done very well, is echo what is going on, and also telling stories that have not been told enough. And I think people keep coming back to see what else we have to say. And I couldn't be more proud. I think that's the number one thing I'm proud of this show is the voices that we have in this show, that we voice for communities that otherwise don't get it, you know?
She also has a new crush, and some old past flings that are back in her life, kind of. You kind of saw that in a prom episode. So I'm excited to explore, you know, everything that happens this season with her. She makes her mistakes. I mean, that's a part of life. She's only 16. People tend to forget that. You know, she's kind of growing up and things are thrown at her and she might not always make the right decisions, but she does have a good head on her shoulders. You know, she does believe in whatever a boy can do, I can do. And, you know, she doesn't let that stop her from anything, all while having a nice nail. She loves her some glittery nail polish. So I admire her. She always talks about how you can be both pretty and smart. And I think to see that on TV is awesome. Every time I get a script, it's so relevant. It needs to be talked about. That's what I think this show is. And I think the world needs this show now more than ever. It really just, you know, pushes boundaries. It talks about things that are uncomfortable maybe, but need to be talked about. And I think everyone can relate to it in a certain way.
He proposed to Emma, and she was like, I can't marry you if you're going to throw your education. And so I think he's decided to go back to school. And that's pretty much where we pick up, is you know, starting school life again. And yeah, he's working on his relationship with Emma, and yeah, it's pretty good. It was really, really fun to play Jesus, and as far as challenging work goes, you know, the stuff with his father was really fun to get into, and but then beyond that, once he, you know, he got the nail in his head in the surgery and the coma that led to his traumatic brain injury, the work got to a whole new level, because now I represent more than just, you know, a foster kid, more than just the demographic of people that grew up without their birth parents. Now I'm representing an entire group of people that had brain trauma and have had to deal with the frustrations and the agony and all of the challenges that come with that. And to be able to play that role and to be able to kind of give TBI patients a voice, at least in entertainment or on a television show, has been a blessing, and I love that so much.
We've left off, and we've had a lot of stuff with Jude starting to get into video game streaming. That's been a big thing. We also had a little kerfuffle with Taylor and Noah and their friendship and their dynamic between Jude and how that all affects them. And in season 5B, in the second half, we come back to a lot of the same type of streaming service that Taylor and Jude are still doing. And there are, of course, some still relationship bumps that happen in this season. It might not necessarily be Taylor and Noah this time, but there's definitely some bumps that Noah and Jude have. I think all of the differences and changes that Jude has overcome. I think watching Jude and going and experiencing certain things with Jude and as he grows up is incredible. Especially the Jude and Noah storyline, how it's becoming a very serious relationship, and Jude starts to get some interesting aspects of that a lot of the other kids in the family have. And I think it's just really cool to see that Jude was this really small young boy who was really broken and kind of isolated by himself, and now he's developed into a kid who he's normal. He's everyone else, you know, he's got all these relationship problems, he's dealing with friends wanting to hang out with him too much, like all this stuff that I don't think Jude ever saw himself having. I don't think Jude imagined being in a happy family like this, having the life he does, but I think it's a beautiful transition over 5 seasons.
I panicked.
If I walk out of this building, I can be detained.
We all come from different backgrounds.
Honey, you're not broken. And I promise you that we're gonna stop making you feel that way.
What were you guys fighting about?
You. It's always you.
The Fosters. Watch from the beginning on Netflix and catch the winter premiere January 9th on Freeform.